Okay. It was wetter earlier and dripping earlier, but see how that's muddy? Yeah, they were running it, but it was dripping. It's called bleeding out. Bleeding out. So I don't know what zone this is, but they make spray heads that will prevent that, the bleeding out. And the reason why I don't know what zone it is, sprinkler head's too close, is because I'm not going to be able to operate the lawn sprinkler today. You want to get the seller to show you the operation of the lawn sprinkler system. So you can look for broken heads. You can also see that it's not spraying the house. You see that it's not spraying the street. You can see that it's not spraying the fence. But I can't tell you those things today because this is an orbit beehive. And the only way to operate this thing, unless I push that, I don't know what that did. We'll see. Maybe that's a manual thing, but I just went online. I just Googled this. And apparently you have to use the app. There's not a manual bypass I was able to find online. YouTube couldn't help me. I did push that button though, so let's just see how. I don't know. If you want some flashing lights, you can push the button. That's all I'm getting. This is the garage. This is the garage storage. That's going to limit some observations. This is the garage pedestrian door. And it's supposed to have a self-closing, and I'm going to wipe that with alcohol. I know I don't have my hands. I'm in the garage. I'm still outside. When we go in, we're going in protected. But you're supposed to have a self-closing spring on that, because if that just is left to stay open, then the fire could just walk on in. I took my spring off. It was a nuisance when I was carrying in the groceries. But don't do what I do. That's not what you do. I'm not a model citizen. These electric receptacle outlets in the garage, they're not GFCI protected. There's one over there that's got a little GFCI notice posted on it. You might have one in this garage. But we're not going there today. We're just not going to climb all over that. I'd asked for it. I sent out a letter of intent. So, moving along. Again, we're not going to inspect this bad boy today. I mean, we inspected it, but we're not going to run it. I don't feel good about that inspection. But it is what it is. I'm not changing it. Can't change it. This is the electric load center. Service panel. Breaker box. Call it what you will. It's 200 amps. Main neutral coming in. So it's wrapped with white tape, no fewer than 3 wraps. So people, if you don't know that that's the neutral in this panel, you don't belong in this box. I get that. But anyway, you're supposed to do that. If this home was built this morning, and it wasn't, this home's almost 30 years old, not quite. But you have little rubber booties up here. You have little rubber booties up there. Then your white hots, this is the air conditioning units. And they're properly fused, by the way. I don't mind saying some good things every once in a while. But these white hots, they're supposed to be wrapped with tape so any dummy would know. I mean, they're supposed to be foolproof. And again, if you don't know that it's a white hot, if you don't know that's going to bite you, then you don't belong in this panel. You just don't. Then, wow. Talk about on a technicality. See this ground wire right here? And that neutral wire, they're not supposed to be doubled. And you can double a ground wire. You can't double a neutral. And that means you can't double it with a ground wire, because that one can be doubled and this one can't. So I can't believe that. I can't believe there's plenty of places to put it. I mean, it's like, is that a test? This is called bundling. Right here, bundling. See all these little knockouts? These little knockouts are there so that you're not supposed to bring more than 2 cables in together at a time. You have these big knockouts. There's a big one right there under my business card. These big knockouts because they don't know where L1 and L2 is coming in. So these holes are for these cables. They're not for all these. Now nobody's going to change it. It's pretty common. You see it all the darn time. I get it. I got it in my house. My house isn't for sale. You shouldn't have to live like me. The statistical odds of that ever being a problem is probably only with a home inspector. You might want to disclose it if you sell your house, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to dissuade you from seeking perfection, but it's probably not going to happen. I mean, I hope so, but I'm writing it up as a deficiency. Cables are not supposed to be in direct contact with the panel cover. That's why they have these curbs right here. Actually, no cable. Listen to me, hillbilly home inspections. He's talking all right. All right, so anyway, that's kind of a guide. So all the wires should be behind these curbs. So we got on, some of them are kind of close, but some of these wires, and I guess that's a cable. Yep, stranded wires and stranded wires, they should not be in contact with the panel cover. Let me come along here. Speaking of the panel, you're not supposed to have more than 1/8 of an inch gap in there. That's fire blocking. And it goes all the way around too, not just in here, but across here. So when this panel cover fits over this, you're gonna have all these gaps going around. The fire can jump around and, you know, relocate, move, progress, propagate. Now, what happened here is they screwed the panel in place. Screws are fine, man. I mean, I guess they're fine. You know, they're fast and they're tight. I get that. Well, they're not tight enough, but anyway. But they don't have the same shear strength as nails. They don't have the tensile strength. They don't have the shear strength. So if this structure was to experience, for example, a tornado, then this cabinet for the load center would stand a much better chance of staying in place because it was nailed in than because it was screwed in. Of course, if you have a tornado, it's a bad day anyway, but you know, you want all the benefit you can get. And this is the dead front cover plate, and it was improperly secured with screws, with sheet metal screws. Sheet metal screws are sharp. They will pinch that. They will pinch that. They will pinch that. I'm not going to put that one back. That one will stay right inside. Look at here. It's been pinching this one. It's been pinching that one. Look at it. Look at right there. Yowza. That's why you don't have them. I'm going to put another one up. Well, I love when my points get illustrated in real time. So, the wrong kind of screws are holding the panel cover on. Oh, the bonding location is not labeled. If we can find it, I'll identify it for you. But bonding location is supposed to be labeled, and here it's supposed to say, you know, water heater, cold water side, something like that. And the good part, again, I like to tell you the good parts. These are actually printed information for the breakers. That's good. But the manufacturer thinks that you should have some duplication. You should have some duplication right in here. So over here it says Den air conditioner. I should say Den air conditioner over here. That's all it has to do. It wasn't difficult. They wrote their names all over it. Signed it all up into one of the grounding places. Said when they installed it, but they didn't tell you where it was bonded. And they didn't label that. That's not big deals. None of these are big deals. I mean, even the screws are wow. Just wow for that. But it kind of is what it is. Okay. Moving on along. Foundation repair. I think I've mentioned that already. This is the garage overhead door. Car entry coming along here. The optic sensors are low enough. They're supposed to be low like that, and they are. You have handles? You do. You have spring tension notices? You do. You have safety notices? You do. Now this door lock right here is supposed to be decommissioned because you have an automatic door opener. So you could close this door with the door lock, come home late one night, come back from home from vacation, maybe you went to the casinos in Oklahoma or something and you've been on the road for 5 hours and you're tired, something. You don't have to gamble. You come home, you push the button, you're going to jack up this door. It's all going to be cattywampus. You're going to bend it. So this door lock should be decommissioned. I think that's what that screw right there is for. If you put that screw all the way in, oh, there it is. It has been decommissioned. It's just got a loose screw. Oh, the blind inspector. There's your emergency pull handle. There's both your courtesy lights. Now, it wasn't required when this home was built, and so it did not happen. If it was built today, just kind of like those rubber booties back in the burger box, but that would be GFCI protected receptacle outlet on the ceiling. In 1992-3, whenever this house was built, that was not a requirement. The door opener, it's not supposed to be closer than 5 feet to the garage door because you don't want little kids' hands coming up and messing with it. You know? Executing the cat. Whatever kids do. And then that warning notice that's on this door over here, you should have a warning notice over here. So that's too low, you don't have a warning notice. Jury's out on the lock. Jury's out on that. And it's not GFCI protected.